Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MSFC for our 5th race of the season. Today at the home of the Wyvern Rumble, the Lair of Legends. But once again, it's time for me to hand the mic over to our guest commentator today.
We do have a couple of important details in there that we'll get to as the marbles go through them. First off, however, we have Black Rose of the home team, Wyvern Rumble, starting us off. A marble that has not had much success in the MSFL, looking to redeem themselves as much as possible here. And that would be beautiful to do in front of their home fans as well. 1081 through sector number 1. Don't know how good that is off the top of my head. We will see how that stacks up to the rest of the qualifying runs later on. 1906 there through sector 2. As you can see, they went through the honeycomb on the right side there. If you can get through it without hitting any of the walls, you are going to be in great shape, and Black Rose does just that. A 2642, I'm going to guess that that's going to be towards the top of the field in qualifying today. Now, coming around the turn there, to begin their own qualifying lap, we have Glaive of the Moon Melodies. This is a marble that did a lot of work, played a lot of events in the MSFL Season 3, and did a pretty good job in most of those events. We'll see how they do on the track here. Pink marble that they're racing as. It's very interesting. And they're 300ths ahead in sector number 1. Not bad. Through the honeycomb they go. Hits off the wall. That is actually 4/10 ahead through sector 2, but that wall hit is going to put them quite a ways back, and right there is where Black Rose finished their run. That's going to be over a second back, 1.59 behind our leader after 2 marbles. Not a great run, but we'll see how that stacks up throughout the rest of the qualifying runs. This is Vertigo now of Claws. No, of the Icy Hots. That's right, there's lots of different marbles here, hard to keep them straight, but Vertigo is a member of the Icy Hots, hosts of Season 3 of the MSFL, and actually is a very good athlete. Hasn't done a ton in individual events to show that, but they are quite good, and they are 2/10 behind in Sector 1, 2/10 ahead in Sector number 2. This final sector, however, not going to bring it home for them. 9/10 back, 0.89 of Black Rose here. What is this? This is going to be Hawk of Team Fire, going for their qualifying run. And there they go, across the line to start the clock. You go out of this first 180, and then it's pretty straight lines here, nothing crazy going on in the beginning of Sector 1. There is still some time to be gained or lost, but if you're gaining or losing significant amounts of time, that's not where it's going to be. They go purple in Sector 1, green in Sector number 2, and here they go coming around the final couple of turns. This could beat Black Rose for pole. Oh, very bad final turn, however. They're going to slot into second currently. Not a bad run at all. Still pretty good for Hawk, but they could have had current provisional pole. Now we have FOMO. This is the member of Claws that is going to be racing today. Somewhat of a infamous legend in the MSFL. Forward momentum here, trying to get as much forward momentum as possible through this race course. 3/10, almost 4/10 back. Wow. To start Sector 1, that's not good. Second couple of turns here, and they do hit off the walls there through the honeycomb. That is 300ths back through that sector. Not good. And they cross the line. Current dead last, almost 2.5 seconds behind. Not a good run by that marble. You're going to need to pick up the pace here later on to get a shot at glory. Hair of the Camo Hiders, formerly Space Hunters, formerly Space Pirates. A team that has not had a lot of success recently, and they're going to try to turn that around here. That's 1500ths back, start sector number 1. Sector 2, that's actually a pretty good Sector 2, 1200ths. But, crawling through this final several turns, this is not going to be a good result for that marble. 29:08, that is a very poor time for Hair, as we are halfway through the qualifying runs. We now have to start thinking about the shootout for pole top 4 after qualifying round 1. Go on to a 2-lap shootout for pole position. Currently that is Black Rose, Hawk, Vertigo, and Glaive in those positions, as now we have Kinesis of Night Raid trying to get a spot in that shootout themselves. We go. First couple of turns. Again, I've said before, I will say it again, you cannot lose that much time here in the first couple of turns. There's not much time to be gained and lost. However, Vertigo, that's not Vertigo, that is Kinesis. Okay, whatever. Anyway, that marble that is currently on the track, whatever their name may be, lost a whole lot of time in Sector 1 for what Sector 1 is, and a whole lot of time in Sector 2 as well. Sector 3 fared slightly better. They did manage to finish ahead of Hare, but only by about 11 hundredths. That's not good for them. Icon of the Pantheon. This team is legendary in the MSFL. They won the first season. They got second in Season 2 and second in Season 3. Icon himself, one of the greatest marbles individually in history, and they're going to try to prove themselves on the track here at the Lair of Legends. 44 hundredths behind in sector number 1. They go purple in sectors 2 and 3, however. That's actually going to put them in first place in qualifying so far. Congratulations to Icon for that. We're just getting to the point where marbles are going to be solidified as a spot in the pole shootout. Icon currently with the best chance to get that of anyone. We have Blink now of Starry Sky. Bit of an individual legend themselves. Starry Sky has won the title the past 2 seasons in the MSFL, and Blink has very much helped them with that. Lots of good individual performances by this marble, and they're trying to get some more here as they go 22 hundredths ahead of Icon in sector number 1. And 10th, no, not 10th, 10 hundredths back in sector 2. Not great by any means, but not horrible either. Across the line to finish their run. That is 6th place currently, over 2.5 seconds back. Not horrible, but also not good for a marble that has won multiple championships. Colt, now of the Shadow Hunters, captain of that team that almost actually was in contention in the final event to win Season 3 of the MSFL, but they did not end up doing that. They finished 4th, if I remember that correctly. However, a bit of redemption here for Colt. That's what they're going to try and do as they go 5 tenths ahead, a full half second ahead of Icon in Sector 1. They do manage to glance off the honeycomb there. Very poor run through Sector 2. And Sector 3 not looking much better. This is going to be a bad time. 29:42. Wow. Makes you think we might get a time over that 30-second mark here. We only have 2 marbles left to do it, though. The first of those marbles is Dart of the Iron Brotherhood. Also, Icon and Black Rose are guaranteed to compete in that pole shootout that I was talking about earlier. So even if Dart and the marble after Dart, don't know which one that is right now, passes them, they will still be on the top 4. Dart, 3 tenths ahead through sector number 1 for the Iron Brotherhood. Not bad, not bad. Bit slow through sector 2 here, and they do also just barely glance off the honeycomb there. This is actually looking to be a pretty fast time, especially Iron Brotherhood has not had much success recently. That is 5th provisionally. Very good result by Dart. They're going to look to redeem themselves as the Iron Brotherhood finished last in the MSFL Season 3. They're going to try and do all they can to elevate themselves in the minds of fans all over. Ant of Motown Madness, our final racer here for Q1. Hawk, Black Rose, and Icon guaranteed to move on to the pole shootout. However, Vertigo still on the bubble. If Ant can make top 4 here, they will be in that pole shootout over Vertigo. They are a quarter of a second behind through sector number 1. Sector 2, a full 10th behind. Well, 1 second, 1/10. And they actually make it through the honeycomb, but hit off some sort of invisible platform right there and go bouncing around the walls. And that is the time over 30 seconds. Very, very poor by that marble. They currently are qualified in last here. Now, for the 2-lap pole shootout, we have Icon, we have Black Rose, we have Hawk, and we have Vertigo. These marbles, all of them relatively prestigious, not all for the right reasons, however. We have Icon, Hawk, and Vertigo, both, well, all 3 veterans of the MSFL, and Black Rose was a rookie in Season 3 and did not do much during that season. Anyway, we are off for the pole shootout, and Icon has the lead currently. Vertigo able to shoulder past Black Rose in those first couple of turns to get into second. Hawk trailing in 4th. Icon getting some separation there up front, trying to make it through this honeycomb. They hit the wall. Vertigo does not manage to catch up to Icon. Black Rose closes in on both of them. Icon gets pushed ahead as Vertigo falls to last there, but Icon already, that's a pretty big lead up front for that marble. Hawk gets into second place onto the conveyor belt, but Black Rose does manage to take it back there. As we enter the second and final lap of this pole shootout, Icon has a very large lead. They are looking like they are going to be winning this pole shootout here, and starting on the front row, not just on the front row, in the number 1 position for the race tomorrow. Icon through the honeycomb, no issues, and they are going to cross the line and win pole position here at the Lair of Legends. Black Rose finishes second here, will sit next to them on the starting grid. Hawk in third, and Vertigo back in fourth.